friends of Pakistan who wish to help us at this difficult time for the country. Greetings from Pakistan. Today I want to share with you my Barefoot social architecture, or BASA, culture of giving. Because I would like a paradigm shift in the culture of giving. A kind of shift from charity to empowerment and self-reliance. And to develop a mechanism to partner with communities. I think it's very important for us to now reach out to communities themselves. As you will see in my presentation, there are several ways of giving that we can sponsor various activities. But first, what are the tenets of BASA, culture of giving? No to handouts, no to charity, and yes to giving in kind. And no to intermediaries unless you know them well. Don't put your money into a black hole. And then save humanity and the planet using 3 zeros. These are zero carbon, zero waste, zero cost to donor, which leads to zero poverty. Also, treat communities as partners, not victims. They may be displaced, but they're not disabled. They are fit for doing things and they want to do them. I would like to link my dastarkhan, my maa ka dastarkhan, the mother's dining table, which serves food to the whole village, with capacity building and earnings. And then we need to use low impact, low tech processes, learning from local wisdom, vernacular traditions for sustainable development. Also, we need to adopt participatory approaches for pride and dignity of our people. So I would like to put it to you that maybe we should start rethinking and revisiting what's been done so far. So here I have a slide which shows you, or which I would like you to see, which is BASA culture of giving imperatives. So first of all, what is the meaning of giving? Again, as I said, no to money for charity, and yes to personal engagement. And then I've got 3 ways by which you can do it, but even every one of them I think has many ways in which you can actually participate in various programs. So my first one is Adoptive Village program, where there are options for shelters to livelihoods to fostering volunteerism and many other activities in between. Then the second is Barefoot Knowledge Depository. This, I hope, will be hosted by Cambridge. Knowledge sharing to help people help themselves. And then of course there's climate smart training. So we need to prepare communities to withstand climate change disasters, because it's not the only time, and it's not been the first time for us even. But this time it shows what the severity could be, how almost the entire country has been affected. And as we can see, something like, I think over 1/3 of the country has been submerged in water in these last few weeks. And this is the size of Great Britain that is today underwater. Many places the water is still standing, it's not gone. And we must remember there are 33 million people that have been displaced. There's something like 5 million families that are shelterless. Mothers and children and old people. So many of them are still by the roadside, they're still on high ground, they can't go back to their villages. So it's a very dismal picture, and unless we do it right, unless we use these opportunities to build up our communities, to find out what their strengths are, we will lose the battle. So I just wanted to share again with you the kind of options that we do have for emergency shelters, because I think the best thing that we can do right now is to somehow get a roof over everybody's head and an enclosure which will keep them safe. So I've designed these very simple, very inexpensive sort of instant shelters and eco toilets. On the left you will see the immediate shelter of 8 foot by 8 foot, which will only cost not more than 2,500, and basically it's just a bamboo structure that anybody can learn to make, and we are willing to teach and just have them all over the place. And then the household itself has to make the weave the matting, which they do very well indeed, and that means that they get immediate enclosure and they're safe from weather, they're safe from all kinds of other elements, especially if they're sitting and likely to be there for at least in the next 3 or 4 months, either on a high ground anywhere or on roads or wherever. But even in other places, because the problem is so acute and because the number is so large, I don't foresee anybody reaching them for many, many months unless we adopt this kind of very simple, very quick way of providing some sort of a roof over their heads. On the right, you will see this, again, an instant toilet, which is an eco toilet, and we will teach how to make compost out of the waste. It's got a specially designed WC, which separates the water from solid waste, and then it can all be done very well. And we've seen communities take it up and do it extremely well, and there will be our Barefoot entrepreneurs who will go and teach them also. So this again is very inexpensive. We don't foresee that it will cost more than about 6,000 rupees, which means if you do it on a sharing basis, it's only 3,000 per family. So within 6,000 rupees, you could really provide almost every family with a shelter and also a toilet. And then if you go further, then we see that this is the emergency log shelter, which has been taken up by Intiba Pakistan, and it costs only 25,000. But now we are actually setting up lots of training centers in different parts of the country wherever people have been badly affected, so that to train people there and also to have lots of them being fabricated. But this takes a little bit longer than the instant shelter. This has been developed, it's all bamboo, and it's been developed over many years. And as you will see in the video, that it which has been prepared by architect Tariq. You will recall that I talked about different ways of giving, and one of the ways would be to adopt a village. Now, even in this Adoptive Village program, there are many different ways that you could do it. But one that I think is likely to have a great impact would be what Bank of Punjab is organizing, which is that Heritage Foundation will be providing remote training for this. And that would be happening very soon, and we'll be able to share with you as to how that was done. The second one is a guardians or diaspora model, where shelter option 2 will be taken up mostly, which is to do how do we now engage those who are sitting outside of Pakistan but whose hearts beat with the Pakistanis here, and you want to do something about it. So the diaspora model will be the one that they could take up, because they have connections with the people in Pakistan. And the way we work it, we will be providing trainings, and then they will be able to take up the whole thing themselves, spend their own money, and make sure that the money is going in the right places. Heritage Foundation does not accept any funding of any kind at this time. All our work is pro bono, and we are investing ourselves heavily into something like 12 villages right now. So it is all, my desire is that we just have people coming in and doing it all themselves, so that you develop a connection with the people who've been hurting. And the third is the Pono Markaz model, which is a combination of shelter option 1 and 2. And I'll show you how that works in my next transmissions. Now, another important aspect is to have an environmental improvement in the villages. So what I feel can be done is to have this environmental improvement, which is so necessary for the area. So wherever there are only shelters, it's a good idea to try to see how we can improve the living quality of life for them around them, and also in what way can we cater for the unmet needs of all these displaced and shelterless families. So for this, the Markaz model will work well, where they'll be able to train people as well, and where they are already settled in many ways and have learned how to do various works like sun-dried brick making with lime, and also how to use bamboo. And then another very important aspect would be volunteerism for solidarity and support of the people. You know, when I was working in the earthquake area in 2005, there were so many volunteers that came, and that boosted the morale of the people who had been displaced. And I would like that to happen here as well. So there are different ways of volunteering. One would be, of course, the corporate sector, which will have its own volunteer corps and should keep on visiting. Some of our villages will become hospitality villages, where they'll have arrangement to put you up and also to be able to take care of you. And I think that could be wonderful, because not only will people who go there will learn a lot, but otherwise as well, I think for communities it will be amazing. And also if we were to have international student volunteers coming in and teaming up with our, the national volunteers, that could also be a great thing to do. So there are different ways of adoption of the village, and I hope that you will take at least one of them, which will be amazing then.